Welcome to Popmosis Film. I first off want to thank everybody for voting in our first ever Christmas tournament, and I want to thank Josiah for taking the reins and making it awesome.
The reins,
And,
very Santa sleigh analogy.
Taking the reins and the reindeer, and making the first tournament happen. And I thought it was, fucking amazing. So we actually have our winner, and the winner is Scrooged.
So just for a little context, if you don't follow us on social media, which you may not, some of our listeners may not, follow us on Grand Geek Gathering, follow my social media, Josiah is right, and Arcade Blackfire and Paul. So follow all those things because that is where we do fun things like we did, where we had a little tournament. Each of us chose 3 movies, not necessarily our 3 favorite Christmas movies, but 3 movies that we wanted to talk about. And then each day through the week was mine was first, then I think Paul's, and then Tyler's. And then on Thursday, it was the championship round. So the winner of the previous 3. So it went through the ringer with these. It had to earn its right to get there. And as by one vote over my choice of Batman Returns, Scrooge won, but it was a win-win-win situation with any of the movies we talked about. We had 9 fun movies that we would have talked about, but we got one that's it's kind of cool because it's the most purely Christmas movie, I think, of all the choices, really, even of all 9, not just of the 3 that were in the championship.
Mine was one of mine was A Christmas Prince, which I
that
think
one was pretty Christmassy. Yeah, that was like I know it's technically a Netflix movie, but that's basically a Hallmark movie. So
yeah, absolutely. That's why I chose it.
Yeah.
You put the poll up and said, see the election results as a pop-up on Facebook.
Yes, because I wrote the word election and it came up with a disclaimer, like a real election disclaimer. I'm like, no, this isn't I don't want anything to do with that. Please. No, thank you, sir.
So, and thank you all to everybody who participated and voted. And I love the fact that it's like Josiah's right, Grand Geek Gathering collaborated, like it's some kind of cinematic universe or something like that.
A big deal.
That's pretty much what we've been doing, you know?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool. Like, the Avengers teaming up with the X-Men, just like together.
I'm the X-Men, I think, though.
As long as the X-Men.
Nothing against the Avengers, but I've always been more of an X-Men guy. Because
I've been more of a Justice League guy.
There you go. No, we see, that's even better. It's actually the X-Men teaming up with the Justice League. This is like a big crossover. Where then there's like a mini series where there's like a hybrid superhero and it's like Cyclops meets Martian Manhunter.
Well, my favorite one was Wolverine and Batman when he became what was it?
Dark Claw.
Dark Claw was
amalgam. It was Amalgam Comics, yeah.
Yes, I have them.
Super Soldier, the Captain America, Superman combo. It was
I have mine over there.
Challengers of the Unknown and Fantastic Four, Challengers of the Fantastic, which is really in the real comics. There's a lot of maybe did they steal little ideas here, and Kirby worked on Challengers of the Unknown before Fantastic Four. I had every issue of that crossover in the 90s. So
I want a movie where Bill Murray plays Jack Kirby, just because why not?
I want to see Bill Murray play Batman, have a fusion of the Batman Returns and Scrooge. Those, that kind of crossover. So bizarre.
You're the one, I think. Anyway. I love Bill Murray, but you're the one person that wants to see
I'd rather Danny DeVito play Batman. I want a Danny DeVito playing Batman movie like no other. And then but I want it to be so serious too. Like extremely serious. Danny DeVito is Batman. Like everybody's very, very, very serious. And it's just but I want him to have like a really rubbery suit. So when he's walking, you just hear like the rubber and everything. I just think it'll be the best. It'll be the greatest comedy of all time.
Reminds me, have you seen the Tommy Wiseau Joker? Like he did the Heath Ledger Joker in the interrogation scene?
It's not good. Everybody loves it.
Amazing.
It's so bad.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. Oh man!
I mean, it's like, love to know how I got these scars.
But you're like, it's like where you're lowering your standard to like your expectations for what he should do in that situation. You're like, whoa, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. That's really what it is.
It was like bottom of the.
It's not that it's good.
Scraping bottom of the barrel, but it's like it really elevated them. He elevated beyond what your expectations were. But anyway, get a little off topic. So the movie we're talking about, Scrooged, directed by Richard Donner, and starring Bill Murray and Karen Allen. And basically, it's a modern retelling of the A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And Bill Murray is basically Ebenezer Scrooge, and he's TV executive. That is basically Scrooge. So I'm gonna Josiah hit us with the production info. Go ahead,
Okay.
Josiah.
Yeah, I you know what? I did research. I didn't realize this was based on anything else. Wow, that's shocking to me. And that's my thing. No. So it is based on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And it's funny if you look up, Christmas Carol, like Charles Dickens, like that guy. Every year, there's like 5 things at least that are credited to being, based on a Christmas story. The interesting is if you look this up on IMDb. It has in parentheses like novel, and then it has parentheses behind that suggestion. So I guess it's like loosely enough that it's like a suggestion. That's how it has it.
Is there nothing like the book? I think the latest one with the Jim Carrey one is probably closest to where at least it starts off with the brother, the coins, and like it has
the truest version that I know of is the George C. Scott version from maybe the late 70s, early 80s. That was like the scariest version. That's like, and I think
nightmare fuel.
Totally is. Yeah, like as a kid, like when I'm watching it, like I was thinking, oh my gosh, like this would, because there's scary moments in this one, but they're always sort of undercut by comedy, but it's very dark. But like I kept like having flashbacks to that version because I was a kid. That was like the prominent version until kind of this one came out, really, at least in the 80s. So directed by Richard Donner. And I was thinking about Richard Donner. He's kind of like the proto director for like a Jon Favreau type guy. He did comedy. He did comic book movies. He did Lethal Weapon action movies. He did Goonies, like the Adventure Kids movie, family movies, The Toy, right? Comedy.
Yeah.
Like just like his catalog of his films, it's really kind of very broad in terms of genre, and The Omen horror, right?
He's a very versatile director.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The Omen. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you. Yes, he does such a great job with horror. I wish he did more.
I think he produces the new X-Men movies, right?
He's produced,
the Fox X-Men movies.
Yeah, he was producing those.
We're bringing it back to X-Men. See how it all kind of comes together.
And Bill Murray is now been casted as the new Magneto. You heard it here. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
If it happens now, that'd be pretty rad. So it is based on the book.
Hey, mutants, what's going on? Sorry, that's my Bill Murray. That's all I got.
Cats and dogs turning into, I don't know, superheroes. So
mutants and humans living together, mass hysteria.
Script by Michael O'Donoghue, who was a longtime SNL guy, and that's mostly, if you look at his credits, mostly what he did, and Mitch Glazer. Mitch also started out on SNL, but he also, interesting enough, wrote the 1998 Great Expectations, the Alfonso Cuarón directed one. So it's funny, 2 Dickens adaptations for one guy who's mostly a comedy writer. He also wrote Mitch Glazer, pretty diverse career as a writer, but bringing it back around for him and Bill Murray in 2015, he wrote the script for A Very Merry Christmas, which you can see on Netflix.
I love it so much. It's so perfect.
And it was released on November 23rd, 1988. We're sticking to 88 for our Christmas movies. And we didn't even intend to. We had people vote. Oh, really? Oh, crazy. This is the Tyler birthday series of Christmas.
It was
movies.
Meant to be.
Destiny.
So,
you know what's weird though? Like the casting that you said was like Bill Murray and Karen Allen, but no Bobcat Goldthwait.
Honey, I'm home.
Where he got so much screen time in this movie. It's weird. Anyways,
and the last couple things: budget of $32 million. It opened at 13 and made $60 million.
Yeah,
but this is one of those movies. Oh, what I wanted to mention is it makes money over money over money, because when you become a Christmas classic and you air on TV 77,000 times every year this time of year, you're a very financially successful movie. So
yeah, these Christmas movies, man, those royalty checks that Bill Murray still gets probably are absolutely insane. I bet, allegedly.
The thing I love about this movie, the whole movie, Bill Murray is just chewing the scenery, and a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the things he say are improvised. It's funny that he actually 4 years before this he did Ghostbusters, and then after that he thought of actually retiring from acting. He lived in Paris at the time, and then he was offered this role. So I'm wondering, what's your first experience watching Scrooged, and what were your first impressions of it, and have they changed over the years?
Tyler saw it in the womb. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had a screening in your mom's room.
Yep, that's what it was.
That's pretty interesting.
It was a preview screening. Interestingly enough,
that analog quality. Though I saw it with my dad, and I think when I was like 5 or 6, he thought I was ready for it, and immediately was fucking terrified by Marley. Because holy crap, in that movie, it's so graphic. Like when you see the golf ball, like really,
the mouse like coming out with the golf ball out of his head.
Oh, like, for a kid. I mean, it's not necessary for a kid. It's awesome seeing it now, and you're just like, oh yeah, practical effects. But God, as a kid, it scared the shit out of me. And then it kept going, and then the death was scary. And then but I loved Carol Kane. She was awesome. But yeah, like this movie gets really dark, and then like of course I couldn't process Bobcat Goldthwait's arc. And so when he started like having a gun and stuff like that, I was like, I guess missed, like I just wouldn't process it correctly. It was just, it was something when I was a kid. It's one thing I remember, but then of course, growing up, I've learned to, or I love it now. It's not this scary movie anymore.
Yeah, I always feel that Bobcat Goldthwait, like his arc, is like everybody's arc in 2020. Just like completely miserable, and it's like, oh, we're okay. We're kind of like. We're hanging in there, So I feel bad for him, when he got fired for no reason because he was like, what was it? He second guessed him in the boardroom about the that promo.
Yeah.
For the Scrooge, the show, and I love that promo because it's like terrorism, violence, drug overdose, Scrooge. Like it's like so melodramatic.
The funny thing is, like, you could almost like within that like world, the joke is like you could almost have like Die Hard be like if the Die Hard were legitimately straight up meant to be purely a Christmas movie, it would be a movie produced by Bill Murray's character. You know what I mean? Like it's really violent.
The funny thing is, before that, the thing that preceded that was a TV spoof. It was Lee Majors in like a Die Hard-esque movie with Santa Claus, and so like I love all those little TV spoofs that they put in there right before they actually had the board meeting.
That part felt very in line with like RoboCop too, with all like the little spoofy parts and the commercials and stuff that are in RoboCop. It's like, oh, this is I think in a universe with RoboCop. They're in the same shared movie universe here.
Yep.
Josiah, what was your first experience watching this?
So the first time watching, I can't say specifically this is that kind of movie, but if it came out in '88, probably the next year or the year after that, at some point. Basically, whenever it became a TV staple, that it just started running every year. And because I remember distinctly seeing it as a kid, and like Tyler said, I was probably I had to be older than he was though, because if it came out when I was 6, I was probably 7, 8, somewhere in that range, maybe as old as 9, and yet not quite ready for this level of scariness because it's really, really, really dark. Like when the Ghost of Christmas Future comes and you see like that's always the scary part. Like that's always the scary. It's not as scary as we've mentioned the George C. Scott version. I'm not sure if we mentioned that before we started recording or not, but the George C. Scott version, which came out like in the late 70s, early 80s, it was very, very scary. And he opens up and the kids are inside his cloak. I was like, that was pretty terrifying. But seeing those the spirits or whatever inside of his chest was horrifying to me in particular. There's a lot of like scary moments. But that was really
the coffin and him being in the coffin during
just the way that whole sequence is shot. It's like a German expressionism film or something.
Is this Siberian film? What happened? Yeah. What did I press? What did I sit on?
It's all these like Dutch angles and stuff, and it's like everything about it is scary. But it's funny watching it now that I see those. It's like it's cool in a different way. But I would be like, I'm not going to show this movie to Penny for a while. So. Even though she's totally tougher than me, and she could probably totally handle it. She is like legit, like way, way tough. Like, I mean, she's still a little kid and a little girl, but she's more into scary things than I would have been at. She's not even 4 yet. So,
my first experience with this movie actually was my parents when I was younger. They would play VH1, and they'd have all these different music videos playing pretty much on a loop. And I know I'm dating myself and talking about this, but every once in a while, they Put a Little Love in Your Heart, that music video would be playing. And show footage with Carol Kane like beating up Murray, and then just the Ghost of Christmas Future, and then the Ghost of Christmas Past. All the different little clips that it have in the music video. And I was like, "What's this movie? We got to watch this movie." But my parents were like, "Oh, it's too scary for you. You wouldn't get it." And so eventually we watched it later on VHS, and I really love all the macabre like imagery, like the Ghost of Christmas Future, how like you see Bill Murray in the television screen. Like the television screen is his face, the Ghost of Christmas Future, and you see Bill Murray walk into the hallway, and like you said, it was that German expressionism. And then the cabbie's like this like kind of gross, kind of zombie-esque looking guy. So I just really like gravitated towards the imagery, and I have a theory about this movie. This movie is secretly a Tim Burton movie. And I'll tell you what. The first of all, the German expressionism, like in that hallway scene, all the different like macabre
Danny Elfman score.
Imagery. Yeah, Danny Elfman did the score. The cabbie, like kind of like the live-in, very ghoulish, sort of Beetlejuice-esque like imagery.
Oh yeah.
So really, this movie to me, it feels like a Tim Burton movie, like a late 80s, early 90s Tim Burton movie done by Richard Donner. And so it's really bizarre to see this movie and like see all this Tim Burton stuff, but it's done by another director. So I mean, what do you think about that? Do you feel like this is kind of like a Tim Burton movie? Am I kind of off thinking that way, or what do you guys think?
You're kind of off, I think, because I think it's a disservice to Richard Donner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the guy who's done too much to like be credited, like especially at this time. So Richard Donner, he got his start directing television in the '60s, and he really didn't become a feature director. He directed a few features along the way, but he really didn't become a feature director until like the mid '70s when he did The Omen, and that like made him like a top tier director. He went on to direct, Superman and stuff, and which was like the impossible feat to tackle that movie at the time. And he had impossible producers to work with, the Salkins, and so I think that it's disservice to him. But I do agree that there is some, because I think especially what Richard Donner did is he went into this dark urban fairy tale and the German expressionism style in that ending segment, which are things that are all about that Tim Burton is into. So I think it does line up. And then that Danny Elfman score, which we've since come to associate so much with Tim Burton, I can see why you would see that. But I think, to me, it's like, no, this is a Richard Donner movie. And and Tim Burton wasn't even really Tim Burton then. Had Beetlejuice come out yet?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe the same year.
Beetlejuice came out like, I think, around the same time, or maybe like 87.
He'd done Pee-wee's Big. He'd done like what, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh yeah,
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, yeah. And then it would have been Beetlejuice, and then '89 would have been his Batman. So,
yeah,
what a way to start your career, like,
right? Well, I mean,
I'm gonna hit it right out the gate.
We had his shorts and stuff, and he had a relationship with Disney. That was just a pretty good way as well.
Have you seen the short Vincent?
What?
Short Vincent?
Yeah.
Have you seen the short Vincent? I love that short so much. I think it's
and then Frankenweenie, which Vincent was like the animated one. This stop motion animated, and Frankenweenie, which later, which was actually weirdly, Frankenweenie was a live action short that they then made a stop motion movie down the line. But I lost my train of thought. Like Tim Burton, Richard Donner wires are crossing in my head. So these Yoda ears aren't bringing the force right now. So
I'm looking at Richard Donner's his filmography, and I would say maybe even Tim Burton was a little inspired by Richard Donner here. I mean, you're looking at, I wouldn't say Goonies is exactly like anything, but I mean it's kind of like this weird kind of storytelling that I think maybe he hits kind of like the same beats a little bit. But like, The Omen though, and even look up where he did some Tales of the Crypt stuff as well. Yeah,
and also when we're talking about the cinematography style, it's Michael Chapman, I believe, shot it, and that's the guy who you're going back. He shot stuff for Scorsese, including Raging Bull. So like, and look at Raging Bull, you can see the influence in this movie, in Taxi Driver. I don't recall everything he shot for him at the time. I mean, he's gone on to do tons of things, including Space Jam and Kindergarten Cop. So he's kind of has a diverse career, but like that style aesthetically, you know, some credit goes to him too. In terms of what you're seeing through the lens of the camera, especially in that, you know, the lighting and those really cool, like Paul said, those transitions and use of the like analog screens through our like film lens to go forward, and I thought that stuff was really cool. And there's a lot of cool transition in this movies too, using motion, like especially the Carol Kane sequence. You know, the Ghost of Christmas Present, where she's just brutalizing him the whole time.
She's past. She's Ghost of Christmas Past.
No, she's present. Past is Cabby.
Oh my God, you're right.
And so, but when she
Good morning.
Regardless of who she is and what she does
with his brother,
she beats him up. Yeah, she beat every time she beats him up, he'll like fall down and fall through something, and then that's like the transition. So it's like you see that like these use of motion and things like that. So it just was really cool stuff.
By the way, I never seen somebody so excited to get a VHS player for Christmas. Like
at that time, man. Think about that. 88.
I don't know what about that viral kid with a Nintendo 65? Like
isn't that like the early days of YouTube that came out? Like the N64 kid?
Yeah, N64 kid. That was awesome.
Back when it was like Evan's World or something. Evan's World was like the main thing.
Yeah.
So
VH1 and Evan's World, Paul.
So what do you guys think of Bill Murray in the role as Ebenezer Scrooge? Like
I might go last. It might take a while to brew that one.
I refuse to answer. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to say he's great because like he's like so ridiculously over the top in this movie. He just leans into I can be awful, and I feel like Bill Murray in real life could probably get away with that, just being the biggest jerk in the world, because he would just be so naturally funny that he's still endearing in a weird way and still charming. And then that's just this character, and he's the most interesting, unique Scrooge because of that. Because Scrooge is usually not funny, like he's just a jerk, and this Scrooge is funny, and he really just makes that work. I got to tell real quick my Bill Murray story, because I don't know when we'll do a Bill Murray movie. So, like Bill Murray is just this. There's these stories where he just kind of floats around Hollywood and just shows up places and at parties and things. He just the dude, because he's Bill Murray. And so I went to a concert right at the Troubadour in L.A. I believe it's on Santa Monica in L.A. It's in like West Hollywood, and so it's a great club, like small venue, but like LA legend for music scene. I'm sure like a lot of places is struggling during COVID, but at that show for the band Dawes, which is like sort of indie rock, sort of folksy, very 70s kind of sound, like, you know, like the band that is named The Band, you know what I mean? Like that big influence on them. And like the singer-songwriter era of that kind of like Jackson Browne style. But anyway, so at the concert, Judy and I are up. There's like a small balcony. There's not a lot of seats up there. So we would always try to get there early. We used to go to tons of shows before kids, right? And we go up there. We get the seats on the bench. So if you're on that top balcony, you're like super close to the stage, because it's maybe 20 feet back at most, and you're like just above the singer. So it's great view and great sound and everything. And so we're sitting there, and there's this like roped off section right next to us for VIPs, right? They get to go up there and sit, because down in the bottom, it's all standing room in the little like orchestra area. And then across from the side of that, this is during the opening act, who I can't remember, Bill Murray is standing there. And he is like, maybe 6 feet away, because that roped off space is about 6 feet for like the VIP guests. And I look at him, and I'm tapping Judy, and I'm like not able to say anything. And I'm tapping her. And then finally she looks, and I couldn't say anything. And he just looks at both of us, and he does like, you know, that in Lost in Translation when he does the thing with the drink in that commercial, and he like does that. Yeah. He did that. And it's just like, wow, like that kind of thing.
What is it for a damn it, make it a Centauri time. Like, yeah. Yes. Damn it, I can't remember.
And he's like Roger Moore, and he's like, no, not Roger Moore. No, Sean Connery, best Bond, like James Bond. So then all of a sudden, Bill Murray just gone, and he was by himself. No one was with him. It was just Bill Murray by himself, like this spirit in Hollywood, right? So then he's gone. Later on during the show, like in, I believe, the encore, right? They come out for the encore. They have this song called I can't remember the song, but it's like their big show-stopping number. It drives me crazy. It's my favorite song of theirs. And Judy's gonna be mad at me for not remembering. But anyway, they have this great song, and it's just this number where they just really get into it. And it's like it builds up and like explodes. Oh, When My Time Comes, that's the name of it. Is the name of the song. So by Dodds, look that song up. Great band, great song. And all of a sudden, when they're playing that, and they bring up like a bunch of their friends on stage from other bands, and like in that scene that you would know if you know that scene. And it's like their crowd was like, even Judy and I at the time, and this is like close to 10 years ago, we were older than most of the rest of the crowd. They were probably like closer to Tyler's age, a little bit younger than us. Like at the time, they were very early 20s, and Judy and I were like late 20s, early 30s at that time. And so we were we were like the older crew, except for Bill Murray. And Bill Murray at this point is standing down by the stage. And this is where like everyone is down there swaying, dancing, swaying and standing. He's just standing there, like right in the press of this crowd, like almost as close to the stage as he could possibly be, just standing there, not moving, like just not swaying to the music, but he's right up there by the stage. And it's like, he wasn't there before that. It was just like, boom, Bill Murray appeared. And I will like, I'll shut it. So hopefully when, Tyler does the video stuff, I should have footage of this that you can show Bill Murray on the encore. And it's like super, this is before high def. It's not even HD video. It's so old. But Bill Murray was just at the
like
show.
It's like not even 144 pp or p. It's like it's like 12p.
You're gonna think I shot it on a camcorder. It was an old camera, but it was a digital camera, but definitely not HD.
How many transfers did you do, Josiah?
Yeah. But it was just this crazy moment, and I have no idea that this is as close as the episode that'll fit into. But my Bill Murray Hollywood story, because it's just the way he just floats around, and then before the song is over, he's gone. He's not even there anymore, and he's like probably magical. Off to some other thing. Yeah, like that's the way it felt.
Bill Murray is magical.
That's hilarious.
So, that's what I think. That's what I think of Bill Murray as Scrooged. I guess
he's the magical girl that we've all needed.
The funny thing is, there's like so many different Bill Murray stories similar to that. Like, there's a story about that he bartended at an event and only served tequila. And one time he like went to a bunch of construction workers and like read them poetry. And another time he actually like applied for a job at a PF Chang's in the Atlanta airport. And then they like sent a message like, "Hey, we're totally hiring you. Like, we'd love to have you, Bill Murray." But I love his style, man. I love how he just like does whatever he wants. He's such like an amazing, unique individual. Like,
the way he gets hired for jobs. Have you heard the story about that? He doesn't have an agent.
Yeah.
I think he has someone that negotiates for him. I'm sure, but he doesn't have a proper agent. He has like a landline that you just call into, and you leave a message and essentially pitch what you want him to do. And he may or may not call you back.
Yeah, it's
probably an 800 number.
Yeah, that's just that's what people in the industry use, unless like they know him personally. Like unless Dan Aykroyd, I assume, can get a hold of him. But
yeah.
So Tyler, coming back to you, what are your impressions of Bill Murray in this movie?
In this role, by the way, don't go off on some tangent.
No. I love Bill Murray. I absolutely love Bill Murray. I have a lot of respect for Bill Murray. I love Bill Murray. I just do. He is awesome. I think he's one of the best celebrities, one of the best actors. But I think that there are points in this movie that he is fantastic. I think that there are points in this movie where you can clearly tell he does not give a rat's ass about being on set that day and does not deliver lines well sometimes. Like when he's having his epiphany and he's ruining the set at the end, at the beginning of it, he seems very sluggish and like it seems very not genuine. And there's another part of the movie, I really wish I wrote it down. I know exactly what it is. Sorry. It's when Bobcat Goldthwait is shooting up the place and freaking out. Bill, I don't know. He's just like yelling and like being weird, and it just doesn't seem sincere. And I know, and I've known this for many years, that him and Richard Donner did not agree on set, and there were days where they would argue, or they wouldn't talk to each other. There was a lot of tension on set, a lot of tension, and I know he also got hurt a couple times too. I think Carol Kane almost ripped off his lip or some shit, and they had to stop production for a couple weeks. And so I love Bill Murray in this role. There are a few scenes where I feel like, and he's like this in some other movies where he doesn't give a shit, and not any Wes Anderson movies, but there are some other movies you'll see him in where he won't deliver something really well, and it doesn't seem like he cares. And I think, I don't know him personally or anything like that, but I feel like he can get away with it because of his cadence of who he is. But to me, he's not like this character in real life, so it doesn't work as well as maybe something in Stripes. Because I feel like he had this. He was so renowned and everything by Stripes. There's a couple of scenes where I feel it's the same thing, where I feel like he just started improvising something, and then they were just like, "Hey, don't improv," and he's like, "Oh, okay." Next take, he improved again, and then they were just like, "All right, fine." And but it fit his character because that was just kind of him. This movie, he plays a rich asshole, and so I don't know. I feel like when he doesn't care and he's not trying, then it really sticks out like a sore thumb. And those two scenes are always the ones that I remember. And this time I wanted to go harder in this film because I love this film so much and I've seen it so many times, and you guys told me to do, I watched it again and stuff because I didn't know how really what to say. So I'm being very, very harsh right here. I think he's fantastic in it, but for somebody who studied acting, and I'm trying to find something and some constructive criticism and into some things about this movie, I noticed he definitely did not care in certain parts of this movie. And to me, now that I kind of was zoning in on something to see and to analyze, I saw it way more this last viewing than I did literally last Thursday when I watched it. When I had watched it just for fun, because I didn't know it
before we knew that would be a movie.
Before we even knew it was a movie, I just kind of because it's always one of those movies that I've seen over 30 times, almost every single Christmas, and then some other times as well, just in case somebody hasn't seen it. I would say around 30 times. I'm 32 now. I think I've seen it every single Christmas since I was 5 or 6. And then a couple other times as well, or maybe it was on TNT and I would watch it again, twice again. Anyways, so long story short, do I think Bill Murray is great in this movie? I think he is perfectly cast. I would really like to see maybe some final versions or maybe some alternative takes where he and Richard Donner didn't hate each other's guts, just to see what would happen. And that's pretty much it.
I think that this is the first time actually that he carried the movie by himself. He wasn't part of an ensemble. Before that, he Ghostbusters, Stripes, Meatballs, all those movies had Harold Ramis for Dan Aykroyd, and so he was able to play off other people, other comedic actors, and so he didn't have to carry the movie himself. And Scrooge is he's carrying the whole movie this whole time, and he's in it through the whole runtime. And so I kind of equate that roughness in his performance to that. This is the first time he was not as part of an ensemble. That he was kind of carrying the movie himself.
I would disagree because he comes from a family of actors, and if he went to acting school, he definitely did some by himself stuff. And I would understand what you're saying is if he didn't get into SNL from auditioning, which is way worse than carrying an entire movie. You going into an audition for SNL, doing 3 sketches that you've rehearsed over and over and over again by yourself in a mirror, and then performing it and having those nervousness, the stress and nervous, being so nervous in front of Lorne Michaels and stuff, especially since he wasn't an original cast member, was he? Or
no, he was that, but that because he
he started in the 4th season.
But the thing is, that's when Saturday Night Live wasn't.
But still,
it was like a less risk thing, and it was more of a
no. It getting started up was extremely intense because the improv scene and that's when stand up comedy was.
But those guys
huge.
even knew Lauren Michaels though. They were
That's
all
true.
like they knew each other beforehand. It's different. It's like
That's
it's like
true.
it's like us doing this together. That's peers. You know what I mean? I think there's something to what Paul's saying, but there's definitely a lot to what Tyler said with the tension. So right, you're now tasked with carrying the movie as a lead. That's a lot of responsibility. Plus, you really, really are not getting along with your director. So I think those clashes and that tension created. I would also say it probably created some of the best moments because when it really explodes and the intensity that came from that, I think at its best also works. But I do see what Tyler's saying because I think that there are times where you can see Bill Murray like
care.
Yeah, just like he's just there. And it's not like he's so good that it's not bad, but he's just there to like
get the scene, get to the next scene, get to the next line.
Yeah, kind of. I would say yeah, that's a fair way to put it. And I think that this movie you can see that at times. But there's also
I'm glad I'm not the only
where,
person who noticed it. Okay, cool.
No, but there's also times where I think then that it comes so strong, but I think like even the way the movie's structured is that he's not supposed to be like the soul of the movie weirdly. Like Karen Allen is the soul of the movie, right? And she in every scene with him, I mean, Karen Allen, like her smile just kills me when I see it still, like in this movie in particular, and going back to Raiders of the Lost Ark. And when she first comes and calls him lumpy, we don't know what that means yet, but it means something. And the way she says it, you wouldn't even, like I was thinking, you don't even need an explanation. You get it later, but you wouldn't need it because of the way she delivers it with such sincerity. So I think that's a little, like there's multiple things going on that kind of converged in Bill Murray sometimes maybe not being into it, plus the tension with Richard Donner, plus carrying a feature for the first time. I think that it all factors in. This is what I'm trying to say. No, I'm just not. I'm not trying to downplay one or the other. That's all.
I'm just for me, I recently. What are you saying, Tyler? Go ahead.
I just don't understand what happened with Karen Allen. I think she was such a great actress. She was so like what you're saying. She's so sincere. She's so genuine in everything she's in, like from Animal House to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and this movie. And what happened? She's just not in anything. Like she was this blockbuster actress, and just, like was so phenomenal, and we don't see her in anything anymore. That makes me sad. She needs to be in more stuff.
I don't know why. Like, did she just? Well, yeah, but did she just choose to kind of walk away? I feel like she'd done a lot. I mean, with those movies, she's probably more than set. So, I mean, did she have a family? Maybe she wanted to raise her family. I left a much lesser job to take care of my girls, so I can relate to that.
She worked consistently in television, like always, and she still has 2 projects going on right now. So, yeah, I still love her. She's awesome.
Maybe she went behind the camera, or maybe she went. She wasn't as. Maybe she went like was right stuff, or I kind of think of her as maybe she's like Alex Winter. Like the last movie he did was Freaked. And then he went kind of behind the camera, did documentaries and things like that. Like he's still creative, but he just does it behind the camera. Maybe that's what happened with her. I don't know.
It says she's just an actress.
I never really followed Karen Allen's career. The thing, like for me, with Bill Murray, I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt because there's parts where he's kind of spotty in the performance, but I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt because he really is kind of getting out of his comfort zone, by being like outside of an ensemble. He's kind of doing a dramatic comedy, and it's like he's carrying the whole movie. And so because of that, he's doing something very like, because like a lot of an SNL actors, like only a couple, I would say maybe a dozen or so, have really hit it big, like the Will Ferrells or the Adam Sandler. And even those, they're very like one note.
I think that
they haven't really.
I think it's a lot more than that. I think there's a ton of people who've gotten huge from SNL.
And there's quite a bit, but like the really big ones, generally they kind of do the same roles, Whereas Bill Murray, he's like in all kinds of different movies, like Lost in Translation, and Rushmore.
Yeah, I think like most people that come out of Saturday Night Live are then comedy actors. They're just going to be in comedies. Yeah.
It's like Will Ferrell. Like he generally has the same shtick. Like he yells.
A lot of drama. In fact, he's worked. Yeah, no. Will Ferrell's been like in 8 different dramas, and they were Stranger Than Fiction's on a comedy. It's a great film. He's fantastic.
Stranger Than Fiction is.
Miranda.
I don't know. Maybe I'm hard on them because they usually don't go out of their comfort zone. They usually just stick to comedies. They don't kind of like go outside of that range.
Adam Sandler didn't stick with comedy for a while too. Like Adam Sandler, Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader. None of, I mean, they do other things.
Bill Hader is a good example.
A comedian.
Actually, Bill Hader to me is a good example of somebody who's kind of like Bill Murray in that he's in Chapter 2, and then he was in Trainwreck with Amy Schumer, I think.
Yeah, I think but him and like Kristen Wiig did like the Skeleton Twins, which is a phenomenal film if you haven't seen it. And Ben Kristen Wiig is now Cheetah in Wonder Woman 1984. Like,
yeah, I mean, her too is very versatile. So, my point is that when it comes to, those are kind of the exceptions to the rule. But most of the time, when an SNL actor breaks, they kind of stick to comedy, and that's it. They kind of do like maybe Adam Sandler movies, like David Spade or Rob Schneider. They just do like Adam Sandler movies, and that's it. A few of them kind of break outside their range. Kristen Wiig, she was like in The Martian.
Paul, you can't say Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler, man. You can't say that. An angel loses his wings whenever you say they're they loathe each other now. It's crazy. Yeah, drama.
It's about do they? I had no idea. Yeah. I didn't know there's a tiff between the two of them.
It's like the most pathetic tiff too. Like it's just like you're just like, celebrities hate each other. Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler are like, oh no, why did I waste my time reading this? Like who cares? Sorry.
I want to ask you guys, out of the 3 ghosts, which one was your favorite ghost?
Oh,
and why?
That's the easiest answer to this one's Carol Kane. I love her in everything. Anything. Carol Kane. She's just the greatest. I think she's absolutely like anything she's done. I think she's one of those few actresses that has perfect comedic timing. I have never seen her in any sketch, any movie, any TV show where like she didn't make that scene 10 times funnier by just reacting. Like she's just a stone cold badass comedic actor. Just somebody who is just knows how to build a scene, how to become a character, and how to like it's insane. And I've been saying this for so many years, and I think like if you want if you want to see her, I would say probably her in her best role is Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Anytime she's in that scene, like everybody, like Titus Andromedon steals every scene until Carol Kane comes in and just starts spouting crazy and acting all weird and funny and doing like little ticks and doing like little things that are probably, I would highly doubt, are in the script. She's just one of the funniest people, and in this movie, she hurts Bill Murray in real life, which is like I think a little hilarious. Like, and they had to shut production down because she almost ripped his lip off. But everything.
By the way, have you seen The Dead Don't Die?
No,
because
not yet. It's on HBO. It's on HBO Max now. I found out.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. And the funny thing is, she plays a zombie, and what she does, she says, "Chardonnay." She's like stumbling around, and it just kind of cracks me up. But yeah, you're right. No, Carol Kane's a fantastic performer, and everything she's in,
I love her to death.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Josiah? Where do you stand?
It's Cabby, David Johansen, who is, a punk rocker. He was in the New York Dolls and Buster Poindexter. I had to look up the name. I was like, when Tyler was talking, Dexter Poindexter, because I was like, Buster Poindexter. I'm sorry, not even Dexter. I said it wrong. Buster Poindexter. And I think he's one of those guys. He's not really an actor, but he's such a performer that he brought so much to the weird creepiness and yet like an affection and care that. Like he's the kind of Cabby you would want and be terrified that you would get all at the same time. He's my favorite for that reason.
I'm shocked he didn't do more acting after. He was fantastic.
I know, he was so good.
He is so good.
Yeah.
So good. What floor? Like, oh,
But I think it's just musician. He's a musician and a performer that way, and this was kind of a lark for him and
Yeah.
something to try. I think that's why.
maybe it was like a bucket list thing. Like, yeah, actually, the
Yeah.
movie, got it. All right, I'm gonna go back
Yeah.
to over here and be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish Jared Leto would do the same thing.
I was confusing with Guillermo del Toro. Like, kind of look the same, like their face.
No,
It's confusing.
Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah, his face, his head is like a square, it's like a rectangle. Like, they don't look anything like to me.
Yeah,
David Johansen?
They look the same to me. I don't know. It's weird. Every time I see this, I was like, oh, Guillermo del Toro. But it's him. It's the other guy. It's that guy. I don't know. I always get confused.
That is the least lookalike thing I've ever heard. Like, this Santa looks kind of like Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
It does not look like David Johansen.
Oh, I'm sorry, Benicio del Toro.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Benicio del Toro.
Okay.
I always get the names confused.
Okay, so
I always get sorry. I get the names confused all the time.
First off, I'm proud of you for being able to say Guillermo del Toro. And secondly,
I practiced from last episode.
I do see it. I do see it, but also he looks completely different in real life than he does as a cab driver. But yes, I do see it.
Because when he was in the New York Dolls, like New York Dolls was very sort of like, think David Bowie, like very like effeminate sort of style, and then Buster Poindexter was like almost like a throat, like he would wear like a fancy suit and have this like weird slicked hair, like
what do they call zoot suits?
Poof of hair, zoot suit, but like an '80s version of a zoot suit.
Exactly.
It wasn't like a traditional zoot suit.
Kind of like a zoot suit, but kind of not. Yeah.
So like just if you listen to the music of those things, you'll see this guy had unbelievable range that most musicians would just dream of having. And so he brings all that to this one little performance and then goes and makes more music.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's almost as good as Justin Timberlake. I love Justin Timberlake's acting.
And he has my favorite moment. So does Judy loves Justin as well. I don't dislike him. I don't care.
So good in Social Network and even Friends with Benefits. What's that one was?
Buster Poindexter, David Johansen is Cabby. My favorite moment in the movie too is that it brings the fantasy of the movie into the reality part, whereas how is Karen Allen, what's her character's name?
Oh, it's Claire Phillips.
Oh, Karen Allen.
Oh, Claire. So Claire, she's watching.
Sorry.
No, sorry. So Claire is watching and wants to go to the studio to, have this beautiful reconciliation moment kind of thing. In real life, it's like, well, that's not going to happen. It's Christmas Eve. She's at the homeless shelter place and he's over at the studio. But yet in the fantasy, the movie breaks into the part where you're like, is the fantasy is it delusions? It's like the fantasy kind of becomes reality. And she's like, can you get me to the IGA building, whatever I don't remember the name of the studio or the television channel they're on. So can you get me? He's like, what floor?
IBC.
But he takes the cigar. Which floor?
What floor?
So I love that moment. Yeah.
I like how the cabbie's kind of like the time machine from like Back to the Future.
Oh,
it has the little like dials and stuff like that, and it goes back to 1955.
Yeah, I want to know.
They kind of remind me of that.
I want to know why they chose a taxi cab. Like, is there a metaphor there that I'm missing, or is it just because it's topical and it's New York setting that's full taxi cab?
I think it's a little bit of that. Plus, it's like the
New York setting.
And the cab was like a 1950s style, the look of it. So they're going back to the 50s.
Back to the 50s.
It's funny because like all the movies we saw as kids were set in the 50s because our parents were alive in the 50s and 60s, and now everything's set in like 80s and 90s, and it's weird.
Yeah,
it's like Stranger Things. Oh, that was the 80s.
Yeah,
I'm so done with it.
They're remaking this as well.
You know what?
There's Scrooged. A new Scrooged is in development, and I'm sure it'll be just the same exact movie, but in the 80s.
Wait, are you kidding?
I don't know anything about it, but I just happened to see it on IMDb when I googled it. I didn't look up anybody who's involved. I don't know enough, but they're developing something.
Oh God, Kevin Hart.
So I mean, who do you think could play?
Kevin Hart.
I think Kevin Hart actually could do a very good job. I'm not gonna lie. If this is correct, and Kevin Hart is making, I think Kevin Hart can do a great job in it.
I love that commercial. It's like a AT&T commercial or something where he's like yelling, and the lady's like, "Why are you yelling?" He's like, "That's what I do." I told you, I'm like, that's the best I've ever seen from Kevin Hart, and he's funny. I don't
Yeah.
dislike Kevin Hart,
It's
but
not
it's
him.
just funny.
It's not him or The Rock. I'm down for The Rock. Oh my god,
The Rock if Kevin Hart is
producing
Scrooged,
it?
The Rock has to be the ghost of Christmas something. The Rock is the ghost of Christmas past, and he's the one pummeling Kevin Hart.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
The people's elbows him like through back in time.
Yeah, he punches him. It's like, this is how you go back in time. He just punches him. Make it happen.
The Rock bottom.
Yeah, no, I agree with Tyler. Like my favorite ghost is probably Carol Kane, because it's so odd that he beats him up the whole time. You know, it's kind of an odd.
I don't even think that. I just think she's just so lovable too.
I think
like
really good chemistry with each other. You know.
Yeah, she's psychotic, and you don't want to meet her, but but she's like, from a distance, you're like, oh yeah, she's so sweet. But then you also know that she's absolutely psychotic. Like she'll beat the crap out of you.
As for who can play Scrooge, or who can play Frank in the new Scrooge, I think Nick Offerman could totally do it.
I love Nick Offerman. You said
Nick Offerman. You know where I want to see Nick Offerman then? If it's assuming it is Kevin Hart, Nick Offerman as the ghost of the former the executive that was the Jacob Marley role. Yeah, I think he would be great in that kind of capacity, especially because the drinking. Like you could use the same gags and it'd just be funny with him doing it.
Yeah. I mean, so I think it's weird that they're just remaking Scrooged and just not like another Christmas Carol like movie. But I guess like if it's gonna be anything like it, then they have to.
They want that. Probably, and they want that title.
Yeah,
sure. That's the title that they're after.
I have faith in Kevin Hart. I love Kevin Hart. I love the new Jumanji movies. I love both of them.
As for adaptations of A Christmas Carol, like where does this rank in your?
412 out of the 7 million.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, no. That's a tough one, man, because there's a lot of good ones. I really like the Zemeckis Jim Carrey one. I know a lot of people hate it. I think it was fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's.
What?
I haven't seen it.
I don't understand why people think it sucks. It's just it's dark.
No, because it's a CGI. Uncanny Valley, like,
but see,
when he did like Beowulf, because Robert Zemeckis is like a very talented director. Like, he made like such amazing movies, like Back to the Future, and I don't know, so many different great movies. But then he had this weird phase where he did
2 and Back to the Future 3.
And 3.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Weird phase. What was that?
Well, Forrest Gump, because I think that's what he won an Oscar for.
I don't know. I highly disagree.
I'm not trying to tout whether I like these movies or not. I'm just saying that's his prestige picture.
I know what you're saying is that you miss seeing his live action stuff and that these fully CG hybrid movies look like crap. But
it wasn't even good CGI. It was really goofy. Like, it was goofy like Grand Moff Tarkin CGI. Like, you know what I mean? The Polar Express, like Tom Hanks was like looked so phony and he didn't move right.
I will say I like Beowulf. I think Beowulf actually looks awesome.
No, I like Beowulf. I thought Beowulf worked.
I think Beowulf has a style, and I actually think that his Christmas Carol had a style where it was supposed to be both. I think it was I absolutely cannot stand the whatever the train movie is. I cannot stand that film. Polar Express. Yeah, I think it's terrible. Clearly, he did not have the technology for it. But Beowulf was awesome. It looked great for that time period because Polar Express came out almost the exact same year as freaking Gollum. And you have Gollum over here, a full-fledged CG character living in the real world, in real shadows, in real lighting. And he looks that amazing versus a movie that's a CG movie that's animated hybrid where it's easier to create lighting because you create the lighting and it looks like that. Like that was just terrible. But Beowulf outdone himself. Beowulf, the detail is, especially for the year, and I can go on that for anyways. I think you're misguided on the Christmas Carol.
Wow.
I think you are.
Wow.
I think
harsh words.
I know. It is harsh words. However, it's just because
harsh words, Tyler.
So I think we next year we need to do this movie. Here's the thing. Next year we need to do this movie.
Like
I won't watch it until then, and I'll be the tipping point.
It's because the Christmas Carol one is all about performances. It's all about because it's Gary Oldman, Jim Carrey, and a bunch of other phenomenal actors in it. And it's all about the faces, the emotions in it. And that's one thing that maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. To me, it worked. And I got to see it with a bunch of animators who work at DreamWorks, who work at Disney. I was very lucky to see it with my group of friends who did that. And we went to dinner afterwards and discussed. And like the movie is like, it looks great. There's some issues in it, of course, because it was also rushed, but nothing that that would break the movie. Like you say, you hate it. I thoroughly enjoyed it because of the performances. Jim Carrey knocked it out of the park. Where I think like it was.
Even this way, that movie, I haven't thought about it since I've seen it. And to me, watching it was a painful experience. It was boring and forgettable. And so
I would say,
again,
yes, it is forgettable. I would say it is absolutely I will agree.
Here's the thing. There's a thing called objectivity and subjectivity. Like, if you like that movie, it's perfectly fine. I just disliked it. I had it was painful to watch it. And I remember after seeing the movie, I was like, I want my money back. I wanted my money back. I wanted that time watching that back. It felt like I wasted my time watching it.
Maybe
and it's
I've seen too many Christmas Carol movies because I've seen so many terrible ones, I guess.
I think the thing with Scrooge, to me, it's like Scrooge is very memorable. There's so many great scenes in it. So it's like, as far as the adaptations for A Christmas Carol, it ranks high up there. And I love, there's great little jokes in there that kind of date the movie. When he's in the restaurant, and he sees that guy and he's catching fire and he's reacting. He's like, don't you see that? The guy's catching on fire. And executive and they're all wondering what's going on with Frank? Why is he freaking out? And so he goes and he takes a bucket of ice and throws it on the waiter. And the waiter's actually fine. And he says, I thought you were Richard Pryor. And I love that reference because it references Richard Pryor when he's he was freebasing cocaine. And he caught himself on fire, running it down the street, and that's a joke on that.
I didn't even know that. I just thought he was just
Oh, yeah. Richard Pryor was pretty crazy. Another thing is, right after that, he slips, he slips on the steps in a crazy way. And actually, that wasn't intentional. It actually was just really wet from the bucket of ice, and he slips over. And I don't know. I just love that scene. And so to me, there's so many memorable things about this movie that really tie together. And then for A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, I don't remember anything of it. I don't nothing really struck a chord with me.
The Bob Marley scene is gruesome. He's falling apart and all mangled. It's the CG on Jacob Marley.
He's
Jacob Marley.
No woman, no cry.
No, it's.
I was gonna break out my Bob Marley impression.
Sorry.
Oh, you had to correct yourself. Yourself.
Jacob Marley. The Jacob Marley scene is in the. Anyways, I don't want to talk about the Jim Carrey one too much, but I do like it a lot. I would say the Muppet Christmas Carol is my favorite Christmas Carol. With probably oh my God, C. Scott, George C. Scott one would probably be my second one, and then Scrooge would probably be my third one, with the Jim Carrey at number 4. But yeah,
I think the Muppets. Honestly, I think the Muppets for me. I haven't seen the Jim Carrey Zemeckis thing. I don't know about that, but I mean Scrooge is definitely up there, regardless of like Paul said. You see a lot of versions of this. And the Muppet is my favorite. I love the Muppets at the time. It was the right age for me to see it. I remember, I don't know if I saw it in the theater, but I definitely ran to the video store to rent it for sure. Literally, probably, because there was the one in walking distance from my house. And there weren't a lot of places like that where I lived. You couldn't walk to a lot of things, but you could walk to the video store. And so that one stands out for that reason. The George C. Scott one is really good. I would be interested to watch it now to see how it holds up. It's been such a long time, but it had such an impact on me as a kid. And I think that's what Paul's saying. The ones that, these ones have an impact and they stand out. And that's what Scrooge does. it's one of my favorite Christmas movies for that reason. It's not perfect, but it stands out. It's memorable. It stays with you. Just the end of the movie was probably the first movie that I saw where the movie breaks the fourth wall. So he starts singing to the theater audience, and that blew my mind as a kid. I had never seen that before, and that was those things like that. That alone would make this a significant movie for me. So
you didn't see Ferris Bueller's Day Off first?
I probably had, but that's different. That's different where you're talking to the audience, but you're not talking to them about being the audience.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not like, hey, guy watching me in a movie. It's just I'm talking to. It's different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's.
Did you catch the Little Shop of Horrors reference? How he's like, "Feed me Seymour," before he starts,
Oh
talking
yeah.
Yeah, I love that because he was in that too. It just so. Yeah, man. For me, I'd have to say, I really am attached to the Mickey Christmas Carol, the really old
Oh
Mickey
yeah, that
Mouse
was really good too.
animated
That
one.
was really good.
Uncle
Fantastic.
Scrooge and all. I really like that one a lot.
Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't think I
so
saw
that's
that one. We talked
Mickey
about
is Bob Cratchit.
we talked about that on Most Extreme Ranking Challenge. I did not see that one when I was a kid for some reason.
And Goofy's Jacob Marley.
It's
fantastic, and it's
really,
only
really
half an
solid.
hour. That one's my number one, and I'd say number two is Scrooged for me. And then I don't. Yeah, there's other. But I'd say one is like Mickey Christmas Carol. Two is Scrooged. I don't know what number three would be, but because I have not seen the Mickey Christmas Carol. I'm sorry, I haven't seen the Muppet Christmas Carol. I haven't seen the George.
Wait, you haven't seen
the older one?
Wait, I'm sorry. You said you haven't seen Muppet Christmas Carol?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen the Muppet Christmas Carol. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I need to watch that one and
oh my god! And what's funny? They just resurfaced the missing song, and I remember, and when I heard it again, I was like, I was singing along with I remembered all the words. It's oh my god! But recently, in the last 5 days since when we were recording this, they uncovered and found this song that was only in the I think it was only in the theatrical release, I think, or something like that.
I think it was possibly early VHS.
Oh yes, that's right. That's what it is.
But then it wasn't they couldn't find so that it existed on VHS and it's out there, but there wasn't a master of it. So you couldn't transfer a copy of the VHS. It's like my Bill Murray thing.
Yeah. So oh man, Muppet Christmas Carol. I mean, Michael Caine is to me the perfect Ebenezer Scrooge, and so good. That's just me.
Woo. You recommend it then?
There's a good TV version, and again, this is having not seen it it was probably the late 90s where Patrick Stewart played Scrooge. It was like a TNT movie. And I recall that one being good for a TV movie. Some limitations due to the TNT movie at the time, but I remember it being good. But
you know what I really appreciate about Scrooge is that they did they did a modern take of the story, but then inside it they're filming the period piece version of it. I like how it's two different Scrooges in one. And
I want to see the actual Buddy Hackett as Scrooge. That's the thing. Where's the real Buddy Hackett as Scrooge from within that?
Molly!
What really cracks me up is how they have Tiny Tim played by Mary Lou Retton, and she's doing backflips and stuff like that. It's you're kind of missing the point of Tiny Tim here. What's the deal? Oh man. But
so good. I love Robert. I love Robert Goulet playing himself too. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's
all those little TV spoofs. I really enjoy those little TV spoofs they have at the beginning. So I have a feeling that Tyler needs to talk about Bobcat Goldthwait. I have this weird feeling you have something you need to say about him.
I love Bobcat. This movie just got so weird and dark, and it's kind of hard to watch now with how the state of the world is. But no, I love Bobcat. I think he's one of my favorite directors too. I don't have anything else really to say about him. I thought he was great.
All right.
I thought he was great in the movie. I love his persona. I miss his old stand-up, but I love his directing. So, hey.
I know you love him so much. I'm surprised you didn't want to have like a monologue of like Bobcat.
I think it's
he's touched on Bobcat a bit throughout.
Yeah, I think it's weird that he's not ever billed in the unless you go to like IMDb. But whenever you search this thing, it's only Karen Allen and Bill Murray. Like when Bobcat has like I would say 18 minutes of screen time. That's a lot. That's a main character. I feel.
Oh, and Alfred Woodard too. I mean, main character, and she doesn't get billing as well. But
I definitely agree that she deserves billing, but she also wasn't. I think because Bobcat kept cutting over to him and like the whole homeless thing, him, being stuck, going to stores, and of course the entire ending. But yeah, I would also say, yeah, she was also in it a very, very good portion. But I think she was just in the present, at the beginning, present, and end mostly. But yeah. Oh, in the end, she was in the future, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, her son
Calvin was in like an institution.
Yeah, that's right. Nicholas Phillips.
As we're winding down here, is there anything you guys wanted to bring up before we close out? Your final thoughts?
I don't know why, but you made it sound like you're a concerned dad, like trying to get information that we just did something wrong. Like, so
is there anything we need to talk about?
Anything? I don't know.
I want to see if you guys want venison.
Anything you want to tell me?
I want to see if you guys want venison for Christmas.
I just didn't get a call from the school. So anything? What's going on?
I'll say this hat is a Christmas gift from my daughter Penny.
She wanted
me to have. That's why I'm wearing it. So Penny, she knows that I love Yoda and Baby Yoda. And Penny, even though Penny's seen Empire Strikes Back and she knows who Yoda is, she like still calls Yoda Baby Yoda, even though she knows Baby Yoda isn't Baby Yoda. It confuses me, but she kind of gets it. But yet she wanted me to have this hat. This is a Yoda hat, and I have Baby Yoda with me, all for Penny. This
hat's like 12 years old.
This hat is a month old, no less than that. Judy got me the Baby Yoda, and Penny was so funny. Was like, we can share it, right, Dad? Like, I guess it's my Baby Yoda, Penny.
It's my replica, mine, not yours, mine. No, yeah.
This one's cool though. It's remote controlled, so fun.
Oh, mine's not. Yeah, mine's not.
This one could scoot around on the ground. Let me show you the feet. It's got little wheels, and
look at that.
He can roll around.
The
Force.
Yeah, mine will do the Force too. Okay, so final thoughts on this movie. Sorry.
He's doing the Force, man.
Usually, it's just kind of. Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Now, when you're a baby, though. No, it's okay.
I don't know how accurate you want a toy that we bought to be, Paul. It's not an actual like animatronic prop from the show.
Yeah. for legal reasons, Josiah can't show the stolen prop. Just kidding. No. No. My final thoughts on the movie is a great movie. There's a reason why I've seen it over 30 times. I suggest everybody to watch it. Yes, it's a little outdated, but it's still absolutely hilarious. It definitely is a classic.
No, that's not final thoughts. This is last call, not final thoughts.
What's the difference? I'm so confused. I thought they were the same. What's the difference between final thoughts and last call?
Just anything you want to bring up. Just anything you want to bring up before we close out.
Well, when you say last call, that means final drink of the night.
It's whatever. Go ahead. Just do it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Wait, you're fine. No. Yeah.
How about we call it penultimate talking?
Penultimate? I like penultimate.
Pop ultimate.
For me, it was just my hat. I just wanted to talk about my hat. I said all I have to say about the movie.
Yeah. It's a great movie. I highly suggest it. If you haven't seen it, see it. Happy holidays, everybody.
If you haven't seen it, it'll be on every day next week, I assume. On every channel.
Also, don't let 5-year-olds watch this movie, please. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I'll let Penny watch it, and then we'll see how she does, and then and then Judy will be mad at me.
What I really appreciate about this movie is that when I saw it as a kid, I was like, oh, this is fun, but I really appreciate it more as an adult. You know, I really got the humor and got the tone and everything a lot more, and enjoyed it a lot more than when I was a kid. So I think that's pretty cool that it like holds up, and it gets better with you know, as you get older. I really appreciate that. And one thing is, I really thought that Batman Returns was going to win. So I was like, I'm really surprised that we're doing this episode on Scrooged. One thing, though, I did want to bring up that kind of was like aha moment was basically like, if you think about it, Batman Returns, Max Schreck is basically Scrooge without the redemption. And it's really bizarre.
He turns blue at the end, though.
Was that?
I said he turns blue at the end, though.
Are you bringing this up so you can do a Christopher Walken impression, Paul?
No. But I just thought that was interesting, like how they, you know, there's kind of like the two, like the two movies that are kind of battling out, kind of have a Scrooge character in them. So I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah, so that's just what I want to bring up.
A Scrooge character that throws a woman, that pushes a woman out the window.
Yeah, and electrocutes another one, and Michelle Pfeiffer. So
what's the same woman?
Was that? Oh yeah, that's right. They're the same one.
5, 6.
You guys have any final thoughts or any last?
I have a last call. Or... I have to make a last call. Hang on.
Last call thought. Final last call thought.
No, I'll say my last thoughts, final words. I'm not trying to make a joke there. No, just say Merry Christmas. I appreciate Paul and Tyler. I want to say thank you. You know, that Christmas is a time to say what you're thankful for. I'm thankful for these guys for taking time out of the day to talk about a movie with me. And aside from whatever the rest of you listen to this, hopefully a lot of people do, and we continue to grow. Thank you to the people that voted and all that. But thank you to these guys most of all for once a week-ish, once every 2 weeks, depending on our schedule, how we get them in there, once a month at least, we get to talk about a movie. And I really enjoy that. That's like, because there's times where, you know, building up to this, it can be stressful as we talk about different things. We have to move things around, like me with the kids and things like that. This last week with my daughter was being sick, it was crazy. But when I'm on with you guys just talking, like, you know, I'm just here talking about the movie, and that's super awesome for me, and especially in the time of COVID. So I hope that the joy I feel every episode, good, bad movie, whatever, that I thank Paul and Tyler for that, and hopefully our audience out there can get a little bit of that and a little bit of that joy in a time when it's going to be a weird Christmas, and it was a weird Thanksgiving, and maybe you won't see your family, maybe you shouldn't see your family. Be responsible, make the right choices for your health and people around you, but know that us gathering here virtually is a place of joy for me.
Oh, that's very sweet. That's very heartfelt. Thanks, man. I think we should end there. I think that's a great note to end.
My hat's off to you guys, and my hair is all flat now.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way about the both of you. Thank you so much for joining me on this Popmosis journey, and I do appreciate the both of you.
Appreciate you too, Boo.
I feel the same way. Everything Josiah said, I feel the same way. I feel like 2020 is like kind of a dumpster fire, but when we come together and record, it's like it's nice,
like a trash can
oasis.
It's like a trash can fire with like 3 homeless guys crowded around it. Talking about a movie.
They're lighting M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening on Blu-ray, a bunch of them in a can, and they're just putting their hands up and warming up. Merry Christmas, everybody. Just kidding. Sorry, I ruined it. I ruined the moment, Paul. I'm sorry.
No worries. I just appreciate you guys very much, and you know, I'm very thankful that this kind of came together, because you know, we've been trying to develop this for like a year and a half, and then finally, because of all this, came together, and I'm really proud of it, and I love it, and I feel very privileged to have you guys in my life, and that you're doing this with me. Like, I'm very thankful for the both of you, and I feel like it's great that we kind of get, like, you know, when we do this, we have some time away from the madness and the craziness of this world. we kind of can enjoy each other's company and talk about the movie we love and just kind of bullshit. And it's great. So thank you guys. Thank you both. How about you, Tyler? Are you
final thoughts? Final thoughts are be a good person, give to charity, be charitable. Receiving is not better than giving, and be safe, wear a mask. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. My final thoughts is and if you find Bill Murray's number, give that to me ASAP, because I would just love just to say hi, and I'm a big fan.
I have 4 of the numbers. It's 1-800. So we're starting there. By the way, what's your hat again? What is that hat?
My hat's a penguin. It's a little penguin.
It's a penguin.
It's the beak, okay. The eyes, the I don't know. Yeah, it's a penguin. It's a pinky hat.
Well, and then I'll end on Merry Christmas to you all.
Happy holidays
and to all our audience. Happy holidays and happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, all of that.
Yeah.
So close this out, Tyler.
Solstice. Alrighty. Well, first off, Josiah, where can they find more about you?
You can find me at Josiah is Right, as in WRITE, as in writer. And also, remember, we have our t-shirt giveaway. So subscribe to us on YouTube at The Gathering and me on YouTube at Josiah is Right. And you will automatically be entered to win a t-shirt by subscribing to both channels. Be sure to comment on this video something about t-shirts. What would you want on a Scrooged t-shirt? That's the thing we should do. What would a slogan on a Scrooged t-shirt be? That's for the comments below.
Juxtapozuki. Call back to
there you go.
That's a t-shirt. That'll be a t-shirt that will definitely
need to make that into a t-shirt. What else is there? And what about you, Paul?
Where can we find you?
You'll be finding me working at a PF Chang's in the Atlanta airport. And also on Instagram is Arcade Blackfire.
Alrighty. And thank you for listening in. You can check out all of our shows and offerings on thegrandgeekgathering.com or on this YouTube channel that you are watching right now. All of our podcasts, our articles, and our videos and everything else can be found on our website as well. So if you want to read some of our awesome articles from our amazing writing staff, and you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other stuff. Please subscribe. Please like the video. That would really, really help. And comment. Why not? Say hi to us. We'll say hi back. And then also you can potentially win a free t-shirt. How awesome is that? And the music has been provided by Carlisle Laurent. Have a wonderful week. Wear a mask. Merry holidays. Happy holidays. All the stuff. And
Christmas.
GGG.
So what's on the silver screen? I got some takes you wouldn't believe.